Are we back? Or is this all working right? It's been a little while. I've forgotten how to set it all up. Hopefully you can see and hear me clearly tonight. So yeah, back from a 2-week break from live streaming, and somehow it feels like yesterday, and somehow it feels like it was a month ago, 6 weeks ago. But it's only been 2 weeks. Evening all. Hi Kangaroo. Hi John. Hi Ken. Sunny Florida. Aren't you lucky? It is miserable. If this is the beginning of winter, even though it's still just the autumn, I am going to be tearing my hair out. I haven't got any. I'm going to be seriously off by the time spring comes, because I'm sick already. Evening Paul, good to see you. Hi Peter, always good to see you as well. Good regulars. Anne-Marie, nice to see you as well. And Ozzy, afternoon to you over in somewhere over that way. Hi Diane. Yes, it's good to be back. It is. I do miss doing this, so what I'm going to be like when I actually stop doing live streams, I don't know. But we're not getting anywhere near that yet. It's snowing, Peter. All right, you can just keep your winter stuff back down up there. We don't want any winter talk. It's depressing enough at the minute, and it's only autumn. So, right, what have we got? Tuesday. Yes, it's Tuesdays. So, Tuesday night edits. If anybody out there is new, I am Andy Gray. Welcome along to my usually regular Tuesday night live stream. Always starting at 7:30 UK time, whether that's summertime or GMT. 7:30, and usually I will edit an image in my intentional camera movement style, with a little bit of abstraction and all that kind of malarkey. So I know I did a talk last week for York Photographic Society, and there was lots of people taking notes on when my live stream was on. So if you are one of those new people, hello there. It was lovely to talk for you last week. Very much enjoyed it. Pity the weather kind of spoiled things, because you will now see, as we edit the image that we're going to edit today, whichever one that'll be, is how tricky it was. The weather was so overcast, very dull. I used to be able to shoot these images in any kind of light, whether it be overly bright light or overly dull light, but it was so hard work, and we're going to have to do some serious turd polishing tonight to get anything from it. So that's what's going on in a minute. John, I think you maybe should get out more. If your highlight is watching me on a Tuesday night, you should definitely get out more. Hi Stephen, good to see you. Hope you're all well. Hope the family's good as well. Right, so a couple little stories. One little story which I found out today, which I will just share my screen. That one. If you can see on the screen there, that is a very unintentional, I think it's 14 frames of film photography where my camera broke, and it is, here we are, there's a multiple exposure. I think it's about 14 exposures. So my film camera, I think, is dead. So it stopped winding the film through after 24 shots of a 36 film. I did think there was a bit of an issue when it went past 36 and was keeping on going, so I rewound it, stuck it in a pot, sent it off to the developers to see what was coming out. I was half expecting there to be nothing, but disappointingly, it all started just layering exposure on top of exposure for about the last 4 months. Obviously, I don't shoot with it a lot, but if you go back to my last Harbottle video, which I think would have been July, that's the day it all went wrong. So, hi John, good to see you. I was talking to the people that were hosting me in York for the evening. They said they were good mates of yours, and were telling me how well your Norway trip's going. So I did have a quick look through your blog today. So if anybody's interested about doing a road trip around Norway, I do recommend searching out John's blog about it. Some lovely pictures, some adventures being had. All looks good. So yes, back to this. Yes, so my film camera is dead. It's all just done, and this was the resulting unintentional image, which I put on Twitter, and a few people said, "Ee, that's nice." I only put it out there for interest's sake, so there you go. Yes, epic fails. You'll be getting used to that, because we had not epic fails when I was in York, but definitely disappointing. I think I've made a few images so far, and I half like one I've made, so things aren't looking good. But very, very, very quickly, because I've done this in previous videos where I've gone through because I was so new to film photography, so I was going through the films each time I got them developed. So very, very quickly, I'm just going to run very quickly through this 24 frames so you can see what my results were like. Let me see if I make that full screen. Will that help a little bit? So there we are. We've got a very normal shot of Dunstanburgh Castle on Embleton Bay. I think that was shot at dawn. I think it would be. Yes, that was a YouTube meetup back in May or June time. This is how long ago it is since this film got started. Then we have that, where that was the first shot of the image of the film, and God knows, another shot from Embleton Bay. Shot at Dunstanburgh from the south side. I always get that confused. From the south side, quite a bit of a stormy sea. Not stormy sea, but there was nice splashing going on. Even better in this one, lovely spray coming up, which I was quite proud of. One of those came out, because using film, you're never really sure what you're getting. So that's that. There's the guys on the YouTube thingy. Paul, who usually is in chat. That's him there on the left hand side, shooting a vlog. And then we've got Julian Elliott here, Dick Coulthard, and Neville Kershaw there. And just out of frame was John Haswell. Fun morning that was. Bamborough looked like a very overcast, stormy kind of sky. 2 for good measure. Berwick, when I was out with Andrew Atkinson. Some rocky formations, I think around about, would it be the Chiswick, Spittal kind of area? I liked the way it went out to sea, but I was just playing with film camera. Very dull. Smailholm Tower, which I did a vlog about back in June. Maybe it's June, I can't remember. But anyways, you can see that I shot a few frames with with that here. Not the best of conditions. That one had some nice light on it though. That is the Lime Bridge at Alnwick, which I think I shot when I was with Paul on a different day. Some woodland I moved because it was a very, very dark. The woodland that I was in, which has now been levelled, which is why I was taking a photograph of it. So there is now no wood there. This one is maybe kind of my favourite one of the batch. This is Dryburgh Abbey, the ruins of. So Walter Scott, if you've ever heard of him, is buried in here. Little known fact, well not a little known fact, little nobule of knowledge. And that is Scott's View, right on over the border. Is it in the? Yeah, it's over the borders, in the Borders region. Lovely spot. Lots of people like that spot. A lesser known tower called Green Now Tower, which is another. I think that one came out quite well. Obviously, we've got some light leak issues. Norham Castle, Harbottle Castle, and then this is where it all went wrong. Cartington Castle the same day. I was out with David Byrne, who's sometimes in chat as well. And then it all went pear-shaped. That's when it all broke down. So there you go. There's the very quick review of my last film. Film. If you know what I mean. Right, so on with the what we should be doing. What was the date I was? Oh yeah, there, York. Here we go, York. Oh, it sounds like it's all snowing everywhere over in the US. Apart from down in sunny Florida, like Ken said. Right, yeah, York. Bloody nightmare. So, first place I went to, because the last time I was in York, I forgot to go to it, and that's Clifford's Tower, which is the keep part of what used to be York Castle. And so I went along first thing, got off the train, pegged it into the town centre, headed for the castle region, only to be confronted that the business side of the tower, as in not this side, the other side, scaffolding right over the front, and that's kind of got the distinctive gateway, doorway, entranceway anyway to it. Yeah, covered in scaffolding, so that was a bit crap. But thankfully, it's being on the top of a motte, then it's you've got 360 views to go around. So I had options, but it just turned out crap. Yeah, light was flat, but I did make a bit of an abstract out of it. This is obviously once I got home and started processing, but I made this little abstract which I kind of quite like for some reason. Maybe this crop is a little bit better. So obviously quite minimal, very abstract, no real meaning behind it, just using shapes, little bit of colour. There we go. Another one I've made so far, again of the tower. This one with some obviously very different processing, and this is kind of almost feels like a bit of a moonlit kind of scene. So that kind of semi-worked, and it's just a bog standard blend of images to get that one. Now the last time I went to York, one of my favourite shots was from the Shambles, which was this old medieval street with like the old-fashioned overhanging rooms above the street line, so so the street's wider than the actual gap between the buildings, 2 or 3 stories up. It's very distinctive, and they photograph really well. Very popular spot, and that one there So this one came out all right. I think I did actually make a better version the last time I was there. So I did kind of go to the same spots. But again, it's early days. I think I've probably got more to play with with this image, or with this set of images. This one was just a very, very dark and dirty, grimy looking kind of version. Obviously landscape orientation, but having to aim up and all these blotches in the middle, that's all people, because it was very, 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 very busy. Lots and lots of folk around. So these are just previews of what it was. You know, you can get a rough idea what these buildings are like. Tight, narrow streets, old medieval buildings, lots of little touristy shops and Harry Potter-esque shops. They're all going down that road. I think there's a few shops actually changed, and they're very much Harry Potter themed. Now, like commercialism there. So obviously York has the Minster, and that's one I've made so far of it, and this is of the back end of the Minster, just basically because you could get a kind of a view of it. And there's another version of it. Well, another version obviously made with different edits, different images, different frames. Kind of half works. Again, it's early days, still a lot of refinement to do. Oh, I street photographer, Paul. Yes, I did. I even took a street photo, like a traditional street photo, which, if I remember, I will show later on. I'm not rabbiting on too much. But just to kind of semi-wrap this up, this is the only image so far that I've made, that I've finished, that I kind of like so far. So hopefully you can kind of see that. Very dark, very moody, obviously. So there you go. So I was thinking like of a furnace-y, city, grimy, gothic kind of thing. So yeah, right. So I've done other stuff like playing around with other views of the Minster, and then I made this one, which was the I was going to say the boilerplate, the thumbnail for the video. And that's basically where we've got to. So what I was thinking is I shot a load of stuff from the walls surrounding the Minster. So I was thinking I might try to make something out of one of them, because it's fairly wide. As you can see, hopefully see from this one, it's a fairly wide view. Thing about York, can I get a bloody clear, distant view of the Minster? Well, you can, but you've kind of got not really with a camera. It's kind of tricky. So, okay, video still going. Yeah, looks like it. So, looking to make something out of one of these shots here. The one problem that we have got is that it was very dull, so colour isn't really showing through very well, making it very difficult to work with, get anything to work with. But I think just off the top of me head, I'm gonna work with some of this. That one I picked, wasn't it, that one? It may work, it may not. You know, it might be a quicker boat and try something else. Try that one, has a bit more detail in it. And then we've moved locations. Because obviously the two front towers to the Minster are the attractive kind of piece. So it's probably a good idea to keep things along those lines. Just marking these with 2 so I can find them easy. Let's go with them. Right. Right, along the back here. I've actually picked 5. There's a change. I usually do pick 5. So let's get editing. John, I focus on the subject, the main subject that I'm shooting. So I'll focus on that and then flick it to manual so it doesn't then hunt for the next shot. So yeah, I always focus on what I'm on. You know, like if for this scene here, I focused on the towers. Just for not manually, just let the camera autofocus, let it latch on to whatever it needs to, and then switch it to manual so it doesn't then try to find focus after every single shot. Let's just flatten this out. Detail. Flatten the ISO noise out. Basic. Let's go to landscape, color mode. Let's go to auto. That might give a little bit of color. Click the auto button, see what it does. Not a lot. I can drop the contrast. Lift the shadows. With this one, I might just kind of make it look a bit sketchy as a getting washed out. Nick, I'd be open to it. Nobody's come approaching me yet. I must admit, somebody that I was talking to last week at the Photographic Society did suggest I approach like book people and license things out that way. And somebody did tell us of a what's it called? Of an agency that kind of specialises in that side of things. So it's not like your bog standard stock stuff, obviously, because this isn't bog standard stock. But to kind of play around, in that world as a possible place to make some wonga. So just to get rid of these dust spots because I still haven't cleaned my sensor. Because I am bloody hopeless at that. Bloody hopeless at everything, to be honest. Yeah, we might have to go down that. We might have to make. Well, we are definitely going to have to make our own stories up about these images. Right, sync all the settings across. Just check these over. Same these wobbly these windows of the buildings in front. They might come out quite nice. I'm hoping anyway. But we'll see. We'll see. So they're all selected. Let's open these in Photoshop and get blending. And dust spots is the dust spot removal button. So in the development module, Joseph, if you this one here, the spot removal, which is also Q, and you have visualize spots here, and just make sure that's checked to yes. Oh, we've got the tick box. That's tick box there. Ticked box there. It will show you this contrasty black and white, edgy thing that helps you find your dust spots, and you can. There's a slider here to which you can move around to give you the strength of what you're seeing. but I always just have it right full to the right, so you can see it all. So there you go. Hopefully that helps. Right, still loading up. Well, question there. Whilst this my very slow computer loads these up, so that filled in that 30 seconds or so very nicely. Right, blend all these together, see what happens. So obviously select all the layers, and then look through the blend modes. There's a long comment by Peter. What's he? Good explanation. So with this, obviously there's a bit of manoeuvring to do, because you can see all how everything's out of line. Bring those together as best we can, just so we've got the outlines all okay, lining up. Sometimes you don't need to, because obviously you wouldn't get these painterly effects if everything was in line, because you just wouldn't get it. But you got one problem, is that all the Minster towers are out of line, so it might work down here but it doesn't work up there. Light and blend mode just wipes just going to wipe everything out there. Let's have a overlays, just basically the foreground. I'm getting out into the habit of using overlay and soft light. Maybe it's because I'm using too many layers. Well, not too many layers, but more than like 2, 3. No worries, Joseph. Yeah, it's one of them things that a lot of people ask us about. It's just that tick box. That's all you need. Right. Yeah. So possibly darken as the starting point. Just gonna make all these layers disappear. Move tool, I'm just gonna move these all up, so they're roughly in line, but or maybe I needed to bring the other one back. So obviously this top layer is important, but if everything else needs manoeuvred around, there's no point doing it so we're getting into creative choices here. How much edge do we want? I think actually I'm gonna bring all those across the way back to about there. Bring in this layer. And this top layer, because it worked, obviously because it was very very light, obviously. I'm gonna just check just that layer with different blend modes to see what kind of effects we've got. So obviously lighting, it's going to dominate everything else. So it's kind of got some of that nice foreground is missing, obviously. Just wondering how it's going to work in with soft light, and I think it actually might work fine there. Bring that but only use it above the buildings here, because it's having a detrimental effect on those. So we can mask that off. Bit of a gradient mask. We've got white to black, and just a very, very small gradient there. Just a bit more subtle kind of stuff there. There you go. So the Minster itself is still quite light. Let's just rid of some of that tree action. So we've retained some of that nice colour and brush kind of strokes, dabbled kind of, you know, painting. Chat, what's going on? So, right, we are about that stage. You notice we've got a very harsh edge down there, which I think is the bottom layer. Yes, it is. So just going to, on a mask on there, gain gradient mask. Just going to go to the edge, just soften that edge out. Just means we've got a little bit more canvas to play with. I don't think everything else has dropped, so just going to very easily crop this image down to something like that. Confirm that out. So again, you know, we've got a starting point. We've got a few things that might cause issues. I really don't know how this is actually going to take in the next stage. It might be a case of might be as good as it gets. So well, it's a bit of a curves adjustment. Let's get some contrast in and a little bit of brightness in the sky. Don't want to go too far, I just want to pull that back a little bit. I don't know if it's coming through on your end, but I'm hoping it's not my monitor, but things are all screwy since I got the new color calibration. I'm sure color calibrated, it's great and it's working, but for some reason very, very light grey is green to my eyes. And when I look at what's going out on screen on the little preview on the other monitor, it's looking purple. So happy days. Andy doesn't know what's real anymore. Right, so got to there. There's some nice stuff in there. I think we might look at boosting some little bit of saturation. Ooh, yeah, not that. Get them red bricks even redder. And something like that. And I'm just going to steal this mask which was on there before. And then I've got to actually invert it. So now it's only affecting, you know, the red building. Everything I masked out on this layer. I just copied that across and then inverted it, because then it affects everything bar this area. If you follow masks, learn about them. They're very, very handy. So yeah, that's just added a bit more colour to hopefully have an effect later on. If not, it's still looking quite nice. Let's have a little zoom in. I think it's very painterly, isn't it? That's the thing with the darken and light and blend modes. They do make areas very, very, when you layer them lots of them together, it does start looking like splodges of paint, which is generally what I kind of look for. You know, you can see in this area here how loosely the windows formed, and that's all just to do with a single, how the layers mix together. If I take out that layer, you can see there's a bit more detail in the windows, but probably wouldn't work too well in this image, I don't think. Maybe it would. Decisions. Well, let's go halfway and just fade some of it out. Actually, no. Let's make another mask. But this time, just going to erase it. Smaller brush. Opacity 50%, flow about 50 as well, and just very gradually just bring some of them windows back along there. Little bit more detail. Maybe even if I've gone a little bit too far, just reduce the opacity on that as well. Just paint some of them patches. So maybe it's just those ones in the middle are are a little bit more detail orientated. Right then, so we are making a little bit of headway now. Obviously it's still a bar the I think it's some kind of college accommodation, like ministerial college accommodation in the foreground there. It is, you know, it's a fairly monochrome kind of image, not a lot of colour, obviously, because it was such a dull day. So let's just see if I can whack in a little bit of colour, bit of different colour rather. Drop a layer of colour in, blend modes, just see what's going on. It's kind of killing things, isn't it? Cycle through the blend modes, because that's all I do all day. Just look and see what happens. See what it feels like. Just do everything on feel. It's your own art. What you think is good is great by me. So yeah, I mean, just cycling through these, I could stop at any point and think, yeah, it's canny. So overlay looked quite half appealing, obviously quite vivid, so just knock this back a bit, and then does it go a bit too sickly? Problems at this, when you start off, I was like, ooh, that could do something, and then you start reducing the opacity and it all goes a bit crap. Technically, it all goes a bit crap. So, do I be brave and stay vivid? We can always come out and try again. Let's be brave for a change, and let's use this as the base. So we'll off into Analog Effects Pro. Just that button there, behind my face. God, is it 8:10 already? Gonna have to race through the next bit. Well, no, not race through it, but rattle on through. So I've got all my presets down the left hand side as usual. For those of you who haven't been before, where is it? You can buy my presets from there. For Analog Effects Pro 2, no other version, just Analog Effects Pro 2, which is part of the Nick collection, obviously. Plug over. I do have another plug for the end of the show. Do remind me. I'm sure most of you actually bought them already, but I have my sample of my calendar now. So down the bottom, just looking and appraising and seeing if any of these presets jump out at me as good composition or colour. Obviously we're starting off very, very vivid, so colours are going to be all pretty similar. And then it's all about finding something to work with. You know, it's easy just to have a quick look to see what's usable in it. You know, even as something as simple as that, a little bit of balance. Just changing up the sliders just to see what's possible. See how they react. Knock that saturation back a little bit. It was a bit high. Playing with sliders. That's all I do. Playing with sliders all day long. I don't know, I always get sinusy when I do these live streams. Probably because I didn't talk for the rest of the week. I only talk on a Tuesday night. Play with more sliders in different sections. Lens vignette, maybe turn that. Come here, control. No, subtle. Just testing out some of these now. I think we were right on that main one. That faded out. Levels and curves. You can see there's very little things set, or very little set there. So we can have a good play with these. Thanks, Anne-Marie. Yeah, I'm still working on them. I need to do more new editing. Because what I was hoping to do was actually get some that'll actually work with other colour schemes. It's taking a lot of time to bring them about, and then Lightroom keeps on changing. You've got these new profile things, which I was like, do I do a few setup things for Lightroom? One-click setup starting points that alter just colour or contrast and things, just to get you started on that. The blue curve, we can drop that to actually the RGB. Does that? I want to keep it bright and I want to keep it bright, but have it much more washed out. If that makes sense. I just screwed my curve up now. Look for happy mediums, something like that, and then I'm thinking crop it out by a bit of a narrow kind of crop, something like that. Let's just okay this. So this will go back into Photoshop, and then I'm actually going to go try a second version. So Joseph, Analog Effects Pro 2 is part of the Nick collection, which is an old collection of plugins, originally by Nick and then bought by Google, and then they sold them on to DxO. So you can get the Nick collection from DxO, French company. And Analog Effects Pro 2, back in the day, was made to rival the phone filters that made things look like old analog images and them Insta camera things. So it was to basically to do that, but it had like what's it called, like plate looks, so everything like Daguerreo type things and old plate stuff, so all the dirt and scratches, that was all made to make all that, so to make your normal photography look like very, very old photography. Easily with lots of various options. So Analog Effects Pro 2 that's what it's for. I use it because it treats colour very, very nicely, and it has the double exposure module in it as well, which means you can either introduce a second exposure, or it will create a second exposure, a second layer of your starting point, and it lets you rotate it and scale it, and then it blends in various ways with the base layer to create all this goodness. So watch a few of my videos if you want, Joseph, and then you might see roughly basically what it's all about. Hopefully that helps. Paul, I have updated. I still use Lightroom Classic, obviously, but I have updated everything, and it still kind of works. So bonus. I haven't had any, touch wood, I haven't had any issues yet. I've only opened Lightroom and Photoshop yet. I haven't opened Premiere and Illustrator and all that. So I might get a nasty surprise when I open those out. So anything there? Not really. Stick to the originals. See what's down the list of presets to try with these ones. Obviously we're going to get a very distinctive feel because of the very strong colour that we introduced beforehand. Very strong. That's what I just worked on. It's kind of possible, maybe there's a bit too much pink in there for me. Just maybe move this intersection line here, move it away from there, and move it so it follows the line of the that part of the minster, and then kind of base the rest of the image out. Obviously we've got a bit of a corner there, but we can crop that out or fill it in with content aware fill later on. Keep this down so it's more of a dusky kind of feel to the image. So yeah, I think actually in the middle is going to be fine. Basic adjustments here. Let's see what they've got. Yeah. Halfway. If in doubt, halfway. Brightness, no, that needs to be about there. Saturation, I'm going to bring that down. One, 7. So maybe it's about there. Just a little bit. Yeah, there's always something to learn. We should never stop learning though. We should always be advancing on. Right, that lens vignette needs to come down a bit. Not all the way down there, but not as high as it was. Again, we could keep this bottom corner darker just by moving the lens vignette, because the lens vignette has got a positive on it, so it's like it's brightening it rather than darkening the corners. And obviously the lens vignette in Analog Effects Pro, you can scale up and scale down. You can also move the center of it, which helps for leading the eye into certain areas or balancing the image in a certain way. So hopefully you can see with adding a bit of a positive to the vignette rather than darkening it. It's like it's retaining the original darkening bit in the middle there, and everything out there outside of it is lighter and faded out as obviously. So by bringing that up here, it's kind of lightening the front of the minster there as if it's been lit by the early morning or late evening light. Use your imagination. You have to use your imagination when you're looking at my images, that's for certain. Then we've got some of the, we've still got some of the detail in the foreground of what's actually there. We're not disregarding it altogether. This film type, we're just going to check that these are various different versions just to see how things work. Excuse me. I think we made the right choice at the start there. A bit of vibrancy, that's fine. Actually, bang on where I started. That was a good preset. So don't want to lift that too much. What I want to try and do is actually get rid of some of this pinkiness. So one thing that frustrates me a little bit is when there's a lot of, it's just colour mixing and it becomes, very pink. This apricot, the borders on the light orange apricot kind of feel to, and then I'll just instantly goes pink and you're like, where the hell did that come from? So it might not look like that on your screens, but to me that's what it's looking like right now. It's kind of frustrating. So I'm just finding that happy place. And it's only when it's in the highlights really is where it's a bit of a not a problem. So starting point. Okay, getting towards the end of the finishing point. Yeah, I think that's not bad. Let's go back into Photoshop and refine. A little bit of refinement. So obviously we need to fill this corner in. I don't think they've changed too much in the new version. How do you do it? Continue with fill. Current layer. Go for it. That filled in that corner nicely, no bother at all. Couldn't end where fill's come a long way since we first got it, hasn't it? Right then, do I need to do a little bit more with this? No, I don't need to do any more with that. Not with curves anyway, Jesus. That's just adding a bit too much brightness for my liking. A little bit off the back there, just a little bit more contrast, and then now has that ruined the colour now? Bit of hue and saturation adjustment layer and adjust to taste. Very small movements make a hell of a difference on the hue slider. If you imagine your hue bar is like 1 point whatever million colours, and by moving sort of like small little distances, it's going to make a huge difference. Hue and saturation slider is probably just three's a bit much. +1 I think looked good to me. And obviously doing everything in On adjustment layers, you can mask all these things out. So I would be half tempted to, if I could be bothered and had time, to add this lightened layer into this, just the sky. My mouse has gone weird. Everything's breaking today. Why is my mouse all of a sudden stopped? Nothing more can break. I can't afford to fix things. It's been an expensive month already, and it's only the 12th. So yeah, that kind of works. So all I want to do is, actually I want to invert that. So invert, okay. And then I want to paint in using white. Opacity lets me down up to 75. Big fat brush. Paint in that lighter sky very loosely. Over again up that way. Something like that. Turn it on, turn it off. Bit more time, I can do a better job. You know what I mean. I'm quite liking that. Hopefully it's not just my slightly brighter monitor, which I just calibrated today. Hopefully it is actually looking fine to you as well. So yeah, it's one of them ones. That's another one of them ones to let you. Yeah, you've got to let your imagination go. Maybe this area down here is a bit harsh, so maybe I would do something with that. Hold on, let's see if I can do something very quickly. A bit of a lasso around that edge there. Actually a bit of a one as around there as well. No, I want them both together. Just a rough, see how it handles this. See if it's going to do a decent job. Did I think about it? Yeah, it softened it a bit. That's kind of looked like it might work. Okay. Oh. It didn't really. Alright, that didn't work. Didn't work. Looked good on the small preview. Turn it on, turn it off. It has, yeah, actually, no, I'm doing it a disservice. It has softened it a bit. There's a bit of work to do. Where's the clone stamp? Not 100%. You can just kind of start painting in them softer edges. Looks like I'm doing it on the right layer, aren't I? Small touches like that can make a big difference. Sometimes they can, sometimes they can't. Well, it's a lot of these things. It comes down to interpretation. If you're British, you're gonna that's like a cathedral in the sun at sunrise or something like that. Whether you see it as being York Cathedral or Lincoln Cathedral or whatever. But yeah, if you come from Middle America, then you may well see that those rock formations out in the desert and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Right. So I think, well, we've definitely got. I'll just group these together. Stuck them in a group. We've got 2 images out of today. Obviously, with this very quick one, which I could do a little bit more refinement if I was looking to do, but this one is a bit more of a soft, subtle, more pleasing thing. Seems it's been a depressing bloody day. A stressful couple of weeks. This one is a bit more calming, and actually doing live streams calmed me down a lot. Give me a little bit more of a bit of optimism back, because things has been a bit crap recently. So yeah, that's been great. I've enjoyed that. Back on live streaming, fantastic. And we've clocked in just an hour. Even better. Right then. So what was I going to do? Yes, the one thing I was going to do. Let us... Shut up, phone. What was I going to do? Back to me to start with. And then I will navigate to something on my doodah. Hi Jerome. No worries about being late. You can go back to the start and catch up. Fantastic. The wonders of modern technology and YouTube. Right, I need to... Bear with me, people. Hopefully Paul's still here after all this. Mr. Timlet. Street photo. Yes, sorry John, yes, all the phone always goes. Derek, I think they've got certain things working again, I think is basically what they've done. So if you've got like a modern version of the Mac operating system and Windows 10 and, you know, one of these HD monitors and stuff like that, there are bits in it now that are better. They have integrated it more with some DxO software and are charging you for that premium, which is a bit annoying because really they haven't added that much, but I'm sure there'll be more stuff coming. But at the minute, if you can find a free version and it works on your system, go for it. So there you go. Right. Yes, right. Paul, yes, Paul's still here. Great. Fantastic. Share screen. Share screen. Where's it? Where's it? That one. A street photo by me. I thought this was just typical Instagram. Everybody's shooting for Instagram. Going, look where I've been. Look where we're on holiday. Look at my dog on holiday on Instagram. I'm going to Instagram my perfect life. Yes, here we are. Somebody taking a photograph of their dog in front of York Minster. And me taking a photograph of them taking a photograph of their dog in front of York Minster. Because I'm an arsehole as well. I did only take it on the phone because obviously I had a 6-stop filter strapped on the front of my main camera. So I just had to grab it as they were doing it, but I thought Andy does street photography. So what else was I going to show? Oh yeah, I know what I was going to show. If you haven't got one already, well, if you haven't ordered one already, I'm the only one that's got one so far, is that I have the shit. I'm not meant to swear on this, otherwise I get demonetised. My calendar, I've now got my proof copy. So if you've ordered one, it will be winging its way to you sometime the back end of next week probably. So all come out lovely, very impressive, if I do say so myself. Obviously it's big because it's A3, but if you haven't got one, if you haven't ordered one already, I only have 20 left to sell. So if you want one, get in quick, because once they're gone, they're gone. Unless, you know, the 20 go by like tonight, and then I'll set up something to have these orders fulfilled automatically where I don't get involved because I'm slow. So yes, Karen, hopefully yours will be I'm hoping all the international orders get out before get to their destinations before Christmas, because I'm not going to criticise the printer, but it's like, come on, you've had the files since early October. So yes, I should be getting delivery of them hopefully the beginning of next week, and then they will be getting sent out. So those of you who have ordered one already, and are wondering why you haven't heard from me, don't worry, they are on the way once they've got to me. So yes, there's a link below in the description if you are after one of those, and you can get them on there. 20 quid if you're in the UK, 25 to anybody else, just to cover the postage, extra postage cost for international. It's international, so bloody expensive. Right, I think that'll do. You've seen my very bad street photography. We've made an image or two. I've told you about a few things. You saw my film results, my film camera, film shooting photos. So I think that'll do. It's been a busy Tuesday. So, right. If you've enjoyed it, please do leave a like, thumbs up, and comment, and all that good stuff. Share it around as well. Tell people about my live streams. The more that come along, the merrier. And yeah, thank you very much for your company. Till the next time, keep hard. See ya.